All right, music fans, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there. And this dude here, last summer, as you know, I got a little bit famous, even got onto CNN. They spliced a clip together and they used a portion of my rant about how I thought Neal Schon was blowing up the band. This is when he had taken to Twitter and started just, going after Mr. John Cain and Ross and to a lesser extent Arnell, but it was mostly directed at Cain. And I thought at the time that he shouldn't be airing this dirty laundry. Cain has glommed onto that and talked about his laundry, Sean's supposed dirty laundry. But here's what I've learned since then, and here's why I've changed 180 degrees. Last summer, Neal was all alone. Management wasn't with him last summer. The other guys in the band seemed very complacent, and there is truth to the fact, regardless of your political affiliation, if the band has always had a position that they're not political, then they shouldn't get political. Now, I defended a lot. I said, well, you can go to the White House and so forth. But I think, number one, they didn't tell anybody they were going to be doing this. Okay? And it was, I think, kind of a slap in the face to Neal. And Arnell going, I don't really blame Arnell. I think Arnell wanted to just see the White House and so forth. And it looks as though they're kind of chumming around and hanging out there. And, of course, John's wife is a key advisor to the President of the United States. So, at the time, I was taking the position, well, they're private citizens, they can do what they want, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. When you work for a corporation or a company, which Journey is both of those, it's a corporation, it's a company. You work for Journey, Inc., okay? And Journey, Inc.'s policy over the years has been, we're not political. So when you show up and you do something that goes against that policy, management at that point should have said, look, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. We don't want to mess up the brand. We've always had this reputation of not being political. So when you think that through, you're thinking, well, Cain is doing this in spite of the fact that they've not been political. He also, a couple weeks back, showed up at Mar-a-Lago for a, gala event. I think it might have been last weekend. Very sketchy charity work, and, nice photo of him and his wife on this nice-looking staircase, looking all elegant and wonderful. But again, Mar-a-Lago, this is the president's sister and so forth, and you may say, well, it's charity. Well, why not do like charity like St. Jude's? Now, I know that's my favorite charity, by the way, so I threw that in there. I know he did something at the Ryman a few days back, and that was more just neutral, and that's great. But he also went to the White House for Christmas as well. So all of that, and you say, well, he can do whatever he wants to do. It's his right. But if the band had previously never done things like that, just to make sure we keep politics out of it, because here's the thing. You may not like this particular president. You may not have liked the last president, but the band shouldn't be on one side or another, and that way you're not alienating 50% of your fan base, because that's going to happen because the country is split. In a perfect world, everybody would love the President of the United States, or at least, a high percentage of people, and then you wouldn't have to worry about that stuff. But it's a polarized environment. People, by the way, go to concerts. I believe they listen to music to get away from all of this crap. Okay? So why bring this crap in? Well, it's kind of tough when your wife is this connected with everything. It's kind of tough. I get that. But you're going to have to put your foot down and say, hey, you know what? We've always had this policy, and it's probably the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing for us to do now to just get overtly political because I married this particular person. Now, I've had some people recently say, but remember, you used to rail pretty hard against Neal's wife, all right? Now, here's the thing about Neal's wife. I don't really know that much about her. I know she had a thing a few years ago, going to the White House and so forth, supposedly uninvited. I don't know all of those details. All I know is that is firmly in the past, though, and it hasn't happened recently. Nothing has happened recently. Neal wasn't married to her when that incident went down. So that's kind of like saying, my past, I'm not proud of everything I've done in my past. But if we're living in the present and we're going to base the information on what's happened recently, then that argument really doesn't go anywhere. It's somebody who did something in the past and you may not like it and it may have been wrong and so forth, but it has nothing to do with Journey. She wasn't married to Neal, and I think it's kind of unfair to throw her under the bus based on what's been happening the last year or so. If you want to make that moral equivalency, well, this wife is bad, so this wife is bad, it's oranges and apples. It really is. She's not doing anything currently to disrupt this band, and she's not, if anything, she's probably really supportive of Neal amidst all of the crap that's been going on, where it looks as though the other guys in the band really have a different perspective on music, the future. I think they're in it they're just mailing it in. I think they're just going to mail it in. Now, will they do a good tour with Def Leppard? Yeah, because everybody's watching them to make sure that they go through with this, because this is probably the last time you're going to see this lineup. And I will bet on that, and I'll probably win. So that's my perspective. That's why I've changed 180 degrees. I am definitely more inclined to be on Team Neal these days, because Neal seems to be the one that cares about the music. He cares about the legacy. He's bringing the old music back in, which is fantastic. And I think he's got big plans for the future, if I were to guess. So that's it. I will talk to everybody soon. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.